welcome to episode 8 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast for sharing tips, apps, and gear for iPhone and iPad, along with other technologies that get us using iOS in fun, productive, and meaningful ways. I'm your host, Melissa Davis, and I'm here with my co-host, David Ginsburg. Hey, Dave.
How you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm actually, I don't know if I'm back. I don't know where I am. I'm not here. I'm not there. I'm traveling.
You were traveling last time, and we had a blast in episode 7. My thanks to Barry Falk. We had an amazing discussion. We were hanging out at his house, his humble abode, and I used my new toy, the Zoom H6, to record it, because we could hook up to 4 mics, so we had 2 mics hooked up. And
that is so cool. Yes, thanks, Barry. Thanks for filling in for me.
Yeah, no, and we had a blast talking about WWDC, and I did two podcasts in one day. I was like, my first time ever I've done that. So
that's cool.
Because I was doing it with Mike Potter on for Mac Eyes Only. We did the reaction episode. And,
you've gotten bitten by the bug, haven't you?
I sure have. And then
I enjoyed listening to it. And all the traveling that I've done. That you should feel honored, because that's the only episode I've been able to fit in. I've listened to you guys, and I enjoyed listening. I was like nodding my head the whole time, like And
then I want to thank also Mike LaPlante. He invited me onto iChart Radio.
That's next in my queue.
Oh, okay. You were gonna. I had a blast doing that too, and I was very honored that Mike invited me on, and we had a good discussion. It was pre WWDC, and that was a lot of fun. So we're. I've got the podcast bug. I that's why I was itching to get you to do another episode.
Glad I could scratch that itch for you, Dave.
So there's lots.
There's no cream for it. Sorry.
So there's lots of news out there we're going to want to touch upon, and we got a couple great topics we're going to hit on. Did you want to just dig in here and start talking news here? Apple's
been busy.
Yeah. Well, let's first start talking about. I just saw this. Actually, this came from the FTC this morning. I got an article, and I promptly shared it on Facebook and Twitter on the FTC support scams. And okay, duh, don't.
It's about time.
Don't take calls from scammers who claim that they're computer techs and they say you have a virus on your Mac. No.
I like it when the FTC publishes stuff like this, because
that's
then
why I shared it.
when you see it in your Facebook feed, like your grandma or your great aunt like posts something like there's this new scam and you have to do this, and by the powers invested in me, I do not give you permission, blah 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 blah. And now I can be like, Auntie, you need to go read this FTC article. This comes directly from the FTC. This is not fake news.
No,
so
it is,
thank you, FTC. Finally.
It is not. And all we can say about this is make sure you do not fall for their scam. They call and say, maybe you might get a pop-up on your computer. Say, so many times, and you have your clients and I have my folks I support, they say, oh, I click this and I click this. And I had somebody at work that told me that he did this. And I said, did you let them in your machine? I said, yes. I said, I would recommend not using that computer anymore, or have it erased and then reinstall everything. I think I'm going to get a Mac, because you had a PC, of course.
Yeah.
When it happened. So
it happens on Macs too. It happens to my clients.
It's and it's just more like I think adware more than anything else and malware. It's not really bad viruses like they get on PCs. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying that Macs are any less vulnerable than PCs are, but the payload is not generally as bad as it is on a PC. So
you can usually kind of wiggle your way out of it if you know what to do.
And they have experts like us that can clean their machines up, at least on the Mac side.
It always happens, unfortunately, to my sports fans, and I've gotten close to getting suckered into some things, or not suckered in, but I can see where it would affect people, because me as a graphic designer, when I design things, I'm looking for clip art, and usually like things that are free, or something that doesn't need attribution, or like even in podcasting, when you're looking for music, you hit a nice jackpot for music, but creative professionals and sports fanatics, those are the types of people, or people looking for fonts, or just even clip art for school projects and stuff. That's where they get you. Those are the targets, so you got to be careful out there.
Yeah. So I think there's much else we could talk about that on this topic, other than just be safe out there. Don't believe anything you hear. In fact, I just had someone this afternoon ask me. I got a voicemail, and they're saying, you have a virus on your Microsoft machine. You need to get this fixed right now. That's why it stuck in my head right away when she asked me. I said, no, it's a scam. Glad you ignored it.
Well, we always think we're safe on our iPhones, our cell phones, because more and more people are getting rid of they're ditching their landlines, and we're
Right.
going cellular, and we just have our iPhones for our main squeeze as far as our phones go, and it's starting to creep into there with the telemarketers and stuff. And even just the other day, my dad showed me an example, and he's like he wanted to text them back. He always likes to stick it back to him. He does that with the telemarketers on his landline. It's actually quite funny to witness. But he'll try to text them back, and he doesn't understand why the text won't go through. And I'm like, Dad, it's a landline, first of all. And I said, just ignore it. Just ignore it. And now the iPhone, sometime we should bring that up, that you can, at least on the iPhone, you can block those calls. If you keep getting them, you can just tap the block. So that would be a handy thing to know about.
Yeah, I mean, I have been getting a lot of calls lately on my iPhone, and I have AT&T, so they have their service called Call Protect. And you can subscribe to it for free on AT&T. I don't know what the other carriers do, but
I'm on AT&T too, so I'll have to look into that.
Okay, yeah, so it's called Call Protect, and you download the app and install it. And basically, what it does is, if it knows it's a known phishing or potential fraud, it doesn't even ring. It just has a pop-up, shows up potential fraud, and then just blocks it.
That's good to know.
But things like telemarketers, it pops up and it lets them ring, unfortunately. And I said, oh, but the thing is, it says telemarketer, so I know right away it's a telemarketer, and I can either ignore it or decide to answer it. Sometimes I've answered it just to see what it was, and then sometimes I regret that, and sometimes I don't.
Right. It's like trying to unsubscribe from emails, and I tell my clients and I tell my parents, like, don't even bother just even giving them your time, because in my opinion, I feel like that just gives them license to come back and keep contacting. It's like, oh, we got a live one. Right. You're just letting them know that this is a valid phone number or this is a valid email address. And so I just say, just delete it. Just delete it, or just don't answer the phone. If you don't recognize the number, and if it's important enough, they'll leave a message.
Yep. So, but we'll have all this information in the show notes. Just be safe out there. Don't fall for these scams, please.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I like to do a podcast like this, because I really want to educate people. A lot of it is PSA, but I mean, it's kind of where I come from. I can't help it. It's the mother in me. I can't help it. Just want to take care of you all. I'm
the same here. I just want to make sure everybody's getting the right information.
Right.
And just like I said, be safe out there. And the other piece of news we kind of that caught our eye was here in my hometown, Chicago. Apple is building a brand new store about 3 or 4 blocks. Their flagship store, which is right in downtown Chicago on Michigan Avenue.
Which I've been to.
Yes, and I've been to many times as well, for obvious reasons, since it is my hometown. Down the street, about four blocks, they're building a brand new store near Tribune Tower, right by the Chicago River. It's the heart of the beginning of the Magnificent Mile. So it's right along the river, and they were building that store there, and it's out in a plaza, and the roof is actually it looks like a laptop, a MacBook, and we have a link to it in the show notes. But it's just pretty cool, and there's even a video showing them moving the logo, which I was surprised it was a white logo, because since now the new Macs don't have that anymore. And the video shows them
maybe it's a skylight,
positioning the Apple logo onto the top of the MacBook. It was really cool.
Do you think it's a skylight?
It's very possible. I bet it would be lit up too, because of there's a lot of real cool lighting at night. So I bet I could almost place bets that they're going to have that store lit up. Well,
because cool. I've been to your main flagship store, and there's a big cutout. Because remember, we took that really cool selfie. We should try to put that in the show notes, because that is really cute. Actually, there's a selfie of the group of us. You should have joined. I think we just missed you, or you just came after us, or something. But we're all standing in front of that Apple store, and there's the big cutout of the Apple window behind us. That looks really cool.
Yep. So. I'm not sure when that store is supposed to be open. They're going to move the store, so obviously, so they wouldn't keep both stores. They're too close by. But I'm not sure when. They didn't say in the article when the store is due to be to open. But I would say within the next few months. They said it's just about ready to go as far as the building.
Really? Yeah. It's going to go fast, huh?
Yeah, I'll be hitting down there and checking it out, because it's really cool. So.
Well, you'll have to take pictures and report back on it.
I will. I'll share it with you. And who knows? You might get lucky during Mac Stock. They might open early. You don't know.
Well, we're still going to have to. I mean, it's like Mecca. We have to go see it at least. We have to go visit.
We can go visit. So anyway, that was a couple of stories that caught our eyes. A couple topics we want to talk about today, and we'll touch a little bit on WWDC since you did miss since the last episode, but we will touch just a few things. You did get the chance to watch it, I assume, Melissa.
Yes, I watched it. In fact, it's kind of like I've told you before, I'm not really much of a sporting fan, but I do like my WWDC, and that is kind of a sport. I mean, my kids and I actually sit down. I mean, Keegan's a little bit little, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of interest in it, but Lucian will watch it with me. My almost 11-year-old son is really into it. And we'll sit down, we get ready for it, and we're all excited, and we watch it live together. So, yeah, we enjoyed it. There was a couple of things that really caught his eye. We were excited about. What's it called? The HomePod. That looked really cool. Yep.
HomePods, yeah, that's going to be an interesting device. My comments were it was I don't know.
I know when I listened to you talk to Barry about that, I was like, oh, he's not too keen on that. I agree with you. I think it's a little pricey.
It's pricey, and I'm already so deep in the Amazon Echo ecosystem now.
See, I'm not. I don't even have Prime.
But, right. Well, I do. Yeah. So I'm so into the ecosystem, and I actually we could throw it in here on the notes too. Is I was one of the more exciting things I was about with the Amazon Echo was they added support for Sirius XM radio. So for those of you who are subscribers to Sirius XM, you can add a skill and then just say, that person play the Pulse and from Sirius XM. So then it would play any of the stations from Sirius XM. They just added that the other day, and I was super stoked. And that's so now I can listen to it without me having to pull I have the app on my phone, of course, but
is it working now, though?
Yeah,
didn't it break for a little while?
Yeah,
got overwhelmed.
Last night, the night before we were recording this episode, I had saw that's why I put a post on my Facebook page they're having problems with skills. So because I tried to test other skills besides the Sirius XM one, and those were having problems too. So I racked it up to. I bet a lot of people have been adding the Sirius XM skill, and it's been a little.
I bet when the HomePod comes out, you won't be able to help yourself, and you'll get one.
I think I'm going to resist.
Okay, well, maybe Barry will get one, and then we'll just ping Barry.
We know Barry's going to get one. So
here's a question I have for you, though. Yeah. When I listened to you guys talking about that, I wanted to ask you. Remember way back when they made all the noise and they got rid of they stopped developing for the airports?
Yep.
Do you think all the airport people got kind of rolled into that project?
It's very possible. Very possible.
I mean, it's kind of, a similar form factor. It's a similar kind of device. I mean, wouldn't it be cool, though, if they rolled that all in, that HomePod was truly a HomePod where it could do your time machine backups, like if it was a time capsule built in. Right. I don't know, maybe because of all the speakers. I'm not an engineer, so, I mean, maybe people are laughing at me right now for that idea. But, I mean, it's not too far to think that the team that was working on that kind of stuff maybe got rolled into that product.
Yeah, I did talk about it during the reaction time episode I did on For Mac Eyes Only, and we were kind of coming up with potential thoughts. Maybe they would create a airport type device that would be like the HomePod. I mean, because right now all Apple really did was they showed you what it was which it's going to potentially be. It's because they wouldn't let anybody touch it. If you read, listen to all the other shows and say, oh yeah, we couldn't come anywhere near it, and they barely played it for us to be able to listen to it. So, we kind of speculated that. I was something. Then I turned back. I said, I just can't see it. I'm pretty confident Apple is going to walk away from the airport extreme in the time capsule business.
Well, I thought that, but then what was it? The last WWDC, they said that they weren't going to make displays anymore, and then they got back into this display game again. So
but not Apple branded though. They're not Apple branded. The displays. The
LG wasn't it LG right. displays?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I mean, like they stopped doing the Apple Cinema displays.
Yeah, I still have the old Thunderbolt display.
Yeah,
it's old.
So I don't know. I just wonder. I mean, if there's enough noise. I mean, I was sad that they got out of the airport game, but I understood why they did, and I wasn't.
Still not official though. I mean, they still are selling them. It just blows my mind they finally pulled the plug on it.
With the HomePod, I mean, it'll be one of those products where I always think that Apple's one of those companies that they always underpromise and overdeliver.
Right.
That's kind of their motto. So it'll be interesting. That'll be a very fun space to watch, and we'll just have to roll it into our topics of discussion in the future.
That's true. And if you want to hear more deep details about what happened at WWDC, go back and listen to episode 7 with Barry and I. Okay, I got you excited about this. Beta iOS 11 is out. Of course, it was announced during WWDC. And I am running it. I'm using the public beta. I have an iPhone SE that I'm running it on because, of course, I wouldn't dare put it on my production device. And I wanted to tell you about some of the cool features they've added. There's hundreds of them. I mean, there's tons of YouTube videos out there, and others that have gone through. And let me go through all 100 changes that have happened in beta. And beta 2 just came out yesterday. And
nice.
So they've improved some things. The biggest thing I'm going to call out is the control center. And control center was always, that's the where you bring it up from the bottom, and it gives you all the access to the different functions like airplane mode and Wi-Fi and wireless and all that, Bluetooth.
And it's got 3D touch, so you can get like 3 different modes of flashlights.
Yep. And then it also is customizable. That's the biggest thing, because
nice.
The one in iOS 10, you can't touch it. It's just the way it is, The volume control and the brightness is now a toggle button, so you just drag and drop, drag it up and down to toggle it.
Nice. It's a slider?
It's a slider, right?
Okay,
and then,
nice.
Toggle slider, I got potato. I got bad wording here.
Well, toggle something different.
I know. But, and then, of course, the great thing about being able to customize it, you can add other buttons to it. So when you go into the settings, there is actually a section called Control Center, and you can customize the controls. And
so you can drag them around different orders?
Yeah, kind of like the way the widgets are now, where you can add.
Yeah, so you kind of like touch it and hold like a long press, and then you can drag it. Is that how Control Center is?
Yep.
Nice.
So then they added things like accessibility, so like the magnifying glass, where we talked about that tip a couple of times ago. Like you can add that right there as a button. Yep. But the one thing they added, and I'm so stoked about, is screen recording.
No way.
So now,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so all you do is you add that to one of the buttons, you tap it, so then you move around the screen, and this is basically, you could create
little screencasts?
Screencasts on the fly. It doesn't record any voice. It just records your screen movements. And
oh my gosh.
You tap it, you say stop, and then automatically uploads it right into your photos.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited. I cannot wait to do that.
Yeah. And then the other thing they did was with screen captures. We know the drill how to do that. You push the power button,
and I use that all the time, and I'm constantly annotating them and sending them to my clients. Yeah.
So what you do is you push them. You create the screen capture. Well, it shows the screen capture as a small little picture on the bottom left. You tap and hold it, and it'll you drag it up, and then you can just bring it up, and you actually can you actually can.
Can you annotate it?
It can annotate it. It's got pencils and pens and markers.
You can annotate on a video.
This is the screenshots.
Okay.
On the fly, the video just automatically just records and stops. This is actual like you can. There's a pencil here. I can tap it, and I can put circles around something, or I can put an arrow or whatever. I can. It has the same types of tools that are in the notes program now. With the pencil, the ruler.
Yeah.
The lasso.
So if I do a screen capture on my phone right now,
it just saves it into photos right off the bat.
Right, and the difference is now
it shows down in the bottom left when you take the picture.
Just like when you take a picture.
Yeah, and then you just you scroll it up, and then it comes into a full screen. Do your annotations, and then save it to the photos.
So it saves you a step. So right now, the way it is in the current OS, you have to take the screenshot, then you have to go into Photos, and then you have to tap on it, and then you have to tap on the tool to get editing.
Right.
And even then, there's another step, because then you have to tap on the circle with the 3 little dots, and then you have to tap on markup.
Yep.
So that saves a lot of steps. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I love doing screenshots and screen captures all the time. So I'm
like a screenshot addict, and it's going to get even worse when I can start making videos.
And then,
oh man!
And again, I said there's hundreds of other features they've added. I'll highlight one more, which is the Files app. Amazing. You can actually now it's a drag and drop. This is a game changer, I think, for could this be really your computer, like an iPad? You know, the iPad being able to copy
compare
your files back
files to iCloud Drive app.
Well, iCloud Drive, you didn't have the option to drag files between folders. You couldn't do all that file management. Now in the Files app, you have access to iCloud Drive. They're going to give third-party access so you can do drag and drop with Dropbox. So
we won't need the iCloud Drive app anymore, do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if
so that one Files app is going to replace for me iCloud Drive, probably Box, Dropbox.
Well, you can link them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I can get rid of those, their actual apps. I won't need them. I can just use files.
It'll be integrated. Yep. I mean, just like what PDF Expert we talked about the last 2 episodes ago about you being able to link to those services right into the app. I mean, they're going to do the same thing with this. But on the iPad, on the other hand, I have not installed an iPad yet, so I don't dare yet. I'm waiting for a few more betas.
What's wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding.
They showed it in WWDC about being able to tap and move photos in 3s, 4s into email real quickly.
Yes, I can't wait for that.
The dock is completely redesigned. So those 2 features starting with iOS 11 really stand out. Again, I talked a lot about that last episode, but I mean, I'm excited. I think a lot of these new features are really going to be stand out. And of course, future episodes, once iOS 11 is released, we'll get a little more in depth of some of the new stuff that's released. But I'm excited. I mean, every year there's always something new with iOS, and that's why I'm here talking about this on our podcast. Is I'm passionate about it, and I think it's we're going to have some great things to look forward to.
Well, I'll share something real quick that another friend who has the beta, lives the beta life, is excited about. And this is something I didn't know about. And he was like, hey, was that there before? I don't think so. So, we talked about in another episode about Apple Watch and sharing your activities. Right. And, now we're all kind of linked to each other. And so whenever you complete a workout or you've had like a really good day, we can send each other little smileys and, kind of really that's what it's designed to do. And that's what works really well is you can cheer your friends on. Well, now I had just the other day, I earned the longest move streak award. And so my friend said, oh, I'm proud of you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it just says in the current version, all it says is it says Melissa earned an achievement. It doesn't say which achievement. So they saw on their Apple Watch which particular achievement they won or they earned. But sometimes I know, for example, I'll get the notification, but I may be too busy or distracted and I don't know what it was. And a lot of my friends, we kind of cheer each other on. So he'll cheer me on and I'm like, oh, what did I do? And so now he showed me a screenshot of the beta. Now it says he wrote, I'm proud of you. And then it says Melissa earned the longest move streak award. So now I can see without actually looking at my watch, what is he congratulating me on? So that's a new feature in messages with Apple Watch activity sharing. So that's a new feature, darling.
Yes. No. Yeah. I mean, and then they added a new tray at the bottom, so it's easier to get to the stickers and all the other apps. And
cool.
So they have done some good
more stickers.
Redesigns. More stickers. Yes, we all like the stickers. So, but well, like I said, in future episodes we'll be touching upon some of the new things that comes out. Since it's public beta, we can talk about it, and everybody talks about it, which is great. And I want to definitely be able to share everything with everybody.
Cool.
And we'll have some things to talk about. So,
nice.
Topic 2. We wanted to talk about. You wanted to have some discussion about VPN. Why would you need VPN on an iPhone?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. So I'll just give you a little bit of a precursor. So a family member has a VPN installed on their iPhone, and another family member asked me, well, why is that? Why do you need a VPN? And so I went about researching this because I don't have a VPN on my iPhone, and I'm here to ask you, Dave, should I have a VPN on my iPhone? And if so, how do you choose the best VPN? Because these are we'll post them in the show notes. We have some articles that caught our eye about, what is a VPN and how do you choose a VPN? And then I'm here to pick Dave's brain about why would you need a VPN? And you want to maybe explain a little bit about it.
Well, I think the first thing when we talked about what's driving all of this interest in the VPN is because of President Trump overturning the FCC internet privacy rules. So people are a little disturbed and honestly unhappy the fact that our privacy is not there. I mean, not that
everybody ran out and grabbed their aluminum foil and started making their hats.
Yeah, not that it's that easy to keep private online anyway. I mean, I don't worry about it honestly, but there are some times where you want to be able to browse privately, and really, what a VPN is going to do is it basically hides you. It's like you're hiding in your house and no one can get into it. That's a really good analogy. A VPN is going to block any traffic from coming in and out of your device, so it makes you more anonymous. So, is it going to be perfect? Is there ways around it? Yes, there is. It all depends on the services that you have. The one service I have is called ProXPN. I ended up getting a lifetime subscription when they were offering a number of years ago. And the nice thing is you can't, and then other thing too is I think a lot of people have tried to do is let's say you want to be able to watch a TV show or something on the BBC, let's say, and you can't do that because you don't live in London or you don't live in England. So when you're on a VPN, say you can be in London because the VPN would connect to a London server, and then you would be able to watch it. So is that a great way to have a VPN? No, but it's nice. It's a nice to have type of thing. But really what it's going to do is instead of it saying that you're in, where I'm living in Chicago, or where you're in Arizona, you could say you're in Toronto. You could say you're in New York. You could say you're in Miami. So you could change the IP address, and it keeps you more anonymous. So these servers are not public. They're private.
I'm in Pennsylvania right now, but I could pretend and make it look like I'm still in Arizona, like I never left.
Yes, you could.
And you can specify where you want it to point your pretend location.
It depends on the service that you have. ProXPN is great because I can choose servers from all over the world where I want to connect to, and then what it does is it just connects the device onto VPN, and it keeps things and keeps you private. Like I said, it's not truly private. It's private enough, but there is ways around it. If people really wanted to find out, they could.
Right. And like this one article says, it's not a magic bullet, which is what I believe, which is kind of sort of why I don't really bother doing it. I think it just depends on your lifestyle choices and things that you visit. But I mean, a practical application would probably be someone who works in the medical field, right? I mean, someone who's working with patient data. Yep. They would probably want to use a VPN. Let's say, just any kind of information that you'd really want to keep private. I mean, I did used to work for a doctor years ago, and this was back it wasn't that long ago, but it was long ago enough that, say, for example, it was at a time where when you would go to someone's house, they didn't necessarily know that you could lock your Wi-Fi signal. So they would just have their Wi-Fi signal open. And so, I'd be kind of persnickety about it and say, well, can we please put a passcode on here? Because I was telecommuting at the time and I was working for a doctor, and I wasn't sharing necessarily patient data at the time, but I was working on projects that did require privacy. And I really felt uncomfortable working on a Wi-Fi network that was not secured. And, other people could piggyback on it. So it's sort of in that same kind of vein where you definitely want your privacy. Right. But so like you said, you have to pay for a membership. So the thing that we want to really get out there is kind of along the same line that we were talking about before. Be careful what you install on your iPhones these days, because there are some scammy apps out there. Now we're going to lead into something else after that, but there are still some scammy apps out there that claim to be a virtual private network. That's what VPN stands for, a VPN service. So it's actually not really necessarily a product or an app, but it's a service, right? VPN is actually a service that you subscribe to, and they provide a client app. Is that how it works?
Yes. And the first recommendation right off the bat is do not use a free VPN service provider. It is not
right. So
free.
If it's free, that's the first red flag.
It's not free. I mean, they'll get your information. It's that. It costs money to maintain servers. Plain simple. There's no way that service is free. And yeah, like you said, leading into the other article about this guy who's making $80,000 a month. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's the name of the article that we're going to link to is it's from Medium. It's written by Johnny Lin, and the title is "How to Make $80,000 per Month on the Apple App Store." There's a lot of people that can't believe, how Tim Cook can stand there and report and say that our app developers are making all this money. Well, he kind of goes through the motions of how any one particular app developer before this next thing we're going to talk about could, in fact, actually make a lot of money. And it's a nefarious way by scamming people. That's how you can make a lot of money as an app developer. So just beware that if it says it's free, it's probably not. There's probably some kind of hidden fee in there. And if you read this article, it shows you what things to look for, like spelling errors. It's just like any other type of phishing type of scam. I like to get my clients and my parents and people set up with Touch ID,
sure.
But that can be kind of dangerous because when they're in the App Store and they look for, say, for example, like, oh, I want a VPN, I don't exactly know all about it, but I heard in the news that the government is snooping on our privacy. So, I need a VPN now. Oh, look, this one's free. And then next thing you know, it asks you for Touch ID. And what are you actually granting access to when you're using Touch ID? You're actually making a purchase. And if you don't follow the money, if you don't follow the fine print, you could actually be signing yourself up for a subscription and you might not even know it if you're not careful. So it's just, it's kind of a PSA. It's like, be careful what these things, look at the claims. What is it that they claim that they're doing for you? And if they say it's free, it's probably not. Look for hidden fees and then really find out what are you actually paying for. And I mean, you're paying some other company for access to their servers to reroute your traffic to make it look like you're not where you say you are, or, just to look like you're in some other place. But then is it really protecting your privacy? And if so, how is it doing that? It's who, what, when, where, why, how. Ask yourself all those questions before you invest in one of these things.
Right. And as I said, my only experience I have for an iPhone-based or iOS-based VPN is called ProXPN, and they've been around for quite a while. There's many others that are out there that are legitimate. You just got to do your homework on it. Don't just assume that some of these paid services are actually legit. Make sure you're checking the information that's out on some of these websites. And we've like I said, we've directed some of the information relates to this. This article is very good.
And don't go by just the app reviews. We were looking before the show. There was one that had like 3,000, 4.5, 5-star app reviews, and it's like, really, really.
They must have paid some good money to get some of those fake reviews in there. So. But yeah, just be aware of making and make sure that you don't get bit by these scammers, because it's pretty sad what they come up with some of this stuff.
But luckily, Apple to the rescue,
yes.
Because then there's another article, and the title is Apple removing hundreds of thousands of problematic apps from the App Store, and that's via the Mac Observer. Yep. So we encourage you to check out that article. That will be in our show notes. And there's a cute picture of, Eddie Q taking out the trash.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Obviously photoshopped. It was it's they're basically cleaning house. I mean, there are so many apps out there that have sat dormant for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, hadn't been touched, and I didn't understand why Apple hadn't removed them by that point. So now, because the other influence in this, besides the security and the junk, is the jump to 64-bit. This that we talked about on previous episodes. 32-bit applications and 64-bit applications is just the way the app is written. They're going all 64-bit on the new operating system, so you gotta get these apps up to date. If they're not up to date, then Apple's you're out. We're going to pull them. So they're changing some of their guidelines, which is great. And because there is going to be a redesign of the App Store in iOS 11, which is great. It looks very similar to Apple Music, the way it's designed. So I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a lot easier to find things. I think they're going to do a much better job as far as search goes. But yeah, this is huge. They really just do a better job of enforcement relates to these apps. I mean, it's just they got to do it.
Well, And they're doing it. They're actually putting their money where their mouth is, because we did a little test before we started recording. There was an app that was mentioned. I won't mention it by name, but there was an app that was mentioned in the previous article that we cited that's in our show notes. And we actually looked it up in the App Store, and it wasn't available anymore.
Yes.
So, I mean, and this is within a couple of weeks. You know, that article was written in the beginning of June. Now we're approaching the end of June, and they're cleaning house. And they actually have cleaned house, because I couldn't find it by the developer's name, and I couldn't find it by the app name. So it's been pulled. So they are definitely cleaning house. So it should make Johnny Lynn very happy, who wrote the article. And I just want to remind everybody that in your iPhone, when you go to settings and when you go to the about section under general, that in that about menu, there's a section called applications. And when you tap on it, it will list for you if you have any apps that have not been updated. So I still have 3 left, and I'm come to a crossroads here where I'm just going to be like, you know what? I kind of need that app to access that OneDrive, but they haven't updated it. I'm going to have to start looking for an alternative to some of these apps. Right. There was a language app that taught Mandarin Chinese, and I just, I said I was going to do it and never did. So I better just purge that from my phone, because it's going to slow it down, or it's just not updated. So check that out. Go to settings. Tap on about under general, and then go to the application section and see if you have any apps that are hanging out that have not been updated, and either find an alternative or just trash them. Just get rid of them. There's no sense in keeping them around. No soup for you.
No soup for you. The other way you can also check to see if you have old apps is if you go into the settings, and I believe it was, where was that? Under general, I think it shows. No, it's in the about. So and then it shows.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
They
always move that around.
Yeah. So in applications, look at Google Earth has not been updated in a long time. I still have Google Earth on this phone, so I'm going to remove it, because it says these apps may slow down your iPhone and will not work with future versions of iOS.
You're out of here.
So yeah, I had a whole.
Is that what they say?
Surprise! I got a new iPad. We'll talk about that at another time here. But the iPad, when I copied everything over, when I restored the backup, it had about 15 or so apps that showed up that were still old. So I went through and deleted them all.
Time to do some housekeeping.
Yeah, so it's just you go out there. It hasn't been updated since May 2016 is the last update. So it's been over a year. So then obviously it's still written in 32-bit. So get out of here. But yeah,
you're out.
Stay on top of that stuff.
3 strikes and you're out.
It really helps you out. So
Apple's really good about doing that kind of hand holding, and I really like that. I know that there's a lot of our friends who use Android that they don't like the sandboxing. They don't like how much Apple seems to be kind of a control freak, but right. I prefer it. In fact, I just got a letter not that long ago. Remember, we talked about this on another episode about 2-factor authentication.
Yep.
And I got the letter that says, "Dear Melissa, thank you for using 2-step verification to protect the security of your Apple ID. It lets me know that when iOS 11 is released or macOS High Sierra, when I update that, I'm going to automatically be updated to use 2-factor authentication, because I've been using 2-step. And I said that I purposely was going to leave it that way because I wanted to experience what my clients would experience if any of them are still on 2-step. Yep. And so now I've gotten the little, nice little note, not really, I guess it's a warning, just letting you know that you're going to be walked into this and this is what to expect. So I like that.
iOS 11 is going to enforce it. I mean, you have to do it. There's no way around it anymore.
Well, they started kind of giving us, they kind of are hand holding is what I like to call it. In the last update, wasn't it? They kind of said, okay, here's 2-factor authentication. Here we go. We're gonna set it up. And then I got a lot of phone calls and people asking me what is this new verification code thing? They thought it was their new password and was confusing a lot of people. So get ready. I should go find it. I have it on my Facebook page. There's some really, really awesome videos that were put out by Betty White, where she actually explains to you what 2-factor authentication is. No, it's hilarious.
I gotta go find that.
Yeah, I'll have to link to it.
That's too funny.
Yeah, you got to see it. Have you watched them or?
No. I may have, but
I just say Betty White, two-factor authentication. I mean, come on, that's
really?
just awesome
Betty
right
White?
there.
That's great. That's awesome. So yeah, be safe out there, as we've talked about throughout this episode. Just
I'm a mom. I can't help it. I have
safety
to do
is
this
first here. So, topic 3, the traveling. You've been traveling, and you wanted to bring up some things that you do with when you have your devices with you and you travel with iOS and your travel tools.
So you would be so proud of me. Normally when I pack for a trip, and I do this every other year, we do this road trip, or at least we try to. It just kind of depends on health and finances and stuff. Sure. And this year, I especially wanted to do it because of Macstock. So we'll talk about that later, but that's going to be like our on the way back stop. And so I had to, especially because I'm presenting there. So I had to pack, come on, I need an excuse, but I had to pack,
technology bag.
my whole technology bag, but normally I'm really proud of myself because normally when I pack for a trip like this, and we've talked about all the stuff we have in our bags and things like that, but on a trip, I mean, we're gone for about a month is what it amounts to. And, normally when I pack for a trip, I spread everything out on the bed. I just take our and we have a king size bed because we have kids, and it was a necessity at the time.
Me too.
And so I put everything out on the bed. I mean, I know a lot of girls probably do this with their shoes or their makeup and stuff like that. With me, it's my tech. It's all my gadgets and stuff. And I know my husband, it'll be 13 years this July, and he's learned over the years to just not ask any questions. And he's the super like Jenga master. Like he's really good at packing. He's moved a lot in his life. So I've gotten really good at downsizing, and packing less and less and less. And so this year I was very proud of myself because instead of spreading all my tech out on the bed, Dave, I actually got it condensed down to the coffee table. I can fit all of my tech on the coffee table. It's a really big coffee table, but come on, I got to get point first. I even took pictures of it and everything. I'm not going to put it in the show notes, but I'll share it to you privately because it's just kind of funny. So I got all of my tech. We're down because of the iOS devices. We're down a laptop. We used to take 3 laptops with us. Usually, like my husband would bring. This year he just said, "Nope, I'm not taking the work PC. Like I'm just not doing anything." He got all his grading and all his stuff and everything he needed to do beforehand because he just didn't want to travel with it. So we're down that, but. Since I've upgraded, we both have, shiny new MacBook Pros. And so mine got passed down to my son. And so normally we would have had 3 laptops, but this year my husband was just completely fine with his iPhone. So traveling is a little bit later because of that. And, we have the iPad that the kids use. I loaded it up with all kinds of stuff for them to watch. And it was great. I mean, it took us, about 4 days to get out here. Yep. And the kids were thoroughly entertained with their iOS devices. I mean, what else we didn't bring with us? We didn't bring Nintendo. We are completely an Apple family. We do, because normally that was another thing that we packed, and the kids actually didn't want to. I know some people will be shedding a tear about that, but they didn't want to bring their Wii. I was really kind of surprised because what we did bring? I brought 2. I brought both Apple TVs with me. I brought the 3rd gen and the 4th gen. Because my daddy got a brand new toy. He got one of those fancy smart TVs. Wow. And so we spent like the first day, like before I could even sit down and like just talk, right away, he said, "Hey, did you see that commercial where the kids come over and they have to hand over their devices?" Or, like the grandparents always asking, the kids like, "All right, Sonny, how do I do this?" And that's exactly how we started out. He started asking me questions about his phone. And so I started teaching him stuff, and that just made me thoroughly happy. So I set up his smart TV, and then I set up, I brought the 3rd gen because I have 2 now. So I brought that out for him so that when I give him lessons that we can just AirPlay his new iPhone up on the screen. And it has made it, for the couple little lessons that we've done, it's made it really easy to just look up on the screen and point to things instead of kind of huddling over it. So that was something that I did. So that was fun. So setting up the 2 Apple TVs. And the other reason, like I said, why we didn't have to bring the Wii is because the kids now have games on the Apple TV that they play. Okay. So, we haven't done it yet, but there's going to be a sketch party TV night, one of these days. As soon as I show that to people, they'll have a blast with that. I'm kind of saving that for the birthday parties and stuff like that. So traveling with iOS has really made it a lot easier that we have, less to carry and less to pack.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of little moving pieces, little parts. I had to wrap up the remotes in like paper towels so that they wouldn't get pressed or, damaged or anything like that.
Oh my God, you cracked me up.
It's been an adventure, but we're having a great time with just our iOS devices.
When I travel, I just bring the kitchen sink. I have the backpacks with me, and it's loaded. I mean, I'm going to need this. I have this hard drive to hook up to, and
I know. And there was
put up my Windows.
There was one power supply I wished I would have brought. Like I looked at it, I was like, oh, should I take it? Nah, I already have this one, and I do kind of wish I would have brought what is it? Is a 35 watt the one for the iPad? It's the big power supply.
The iPad is a 12 watt.
Is it 12?
Yeah.
And then it's 7 for the iPhone?
Yes. 7.
So I wish I would have brought another one of the bigger ones, because then we have battery packs that we need to charge, and they charge a lot faster with the big ones. So
yeah,
that was my only regret.
Anker is my favorite brand, and
what I have.
Yeah, the Anker brand, I have a 20,600 milliamp battery that I have, and that thing charges the iPhone at least 4 times before it have to recharge that battery.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The iPad, it does the same thing. It charges it up very quickly. But I just picked up a 10 port. It's a 60. I don't know what I hooked up 10 ports, but it's the same price.
Nice.
So I wanted an extra one, and that's the brick that you can just plug into the wall, and it's got a power switch on the back, and you can plug up to 10 devices, and it all has that IQ technology, so it knows what type of device it needs and how much juice it should give it. So you can hook up an iPad or an iPhone in either jacks that are on there, and it charges it, and it charges it quickly, which is nice.
What's really cool is I found a way around not having that extra power supply, and I tested this when I was on the plane when I went to Florida last year, or no, in the beginning of this year. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of traveling this year, so I've been having to figure this kind of stuff out. But my battery pack, I forget which size it is, but it's not huge. It's got the 2 USB ports on it. I mean, it's just something I can fit in my pocket, and one of them is I think it's a USB 3.0 port. And I can actually plug that in to charge it with its cable, plug that into an outlet, right? And then plug my iPhone and my watch into the 2 ports and charge that while I'm sleeping. So I have that one device. And so I don't even actually need for that little setup. I don't even need one of the Apple power supplies. I can charge all 3 at the same time while I sleep: my phone, my watch, and the battery supply.
That's what that brick's for. That's why.
Isn't that cool?
I mean, the other one I have is a 4-port one I travel with, and this one I just picked up. So I was, crazy.
So you got to try that out with your iOS devices when you're traveling. That's a tip for you.
It's really that's what I travel with now. I just have the power brick with the cords, and there's 4 cords for watch, iPhone, iPad, and any other devices that you have. So
now, how do you wrap yours up? I wrap mine in a circle. I have a very specific way that I wrap it.
I have a pouch. I put them in, and it's all stored in one single pouch.
You got your pouches, huh?
I do. That's my other craziness.
I did that for the kids. So here's another traveling tip for you, because the kids have their devices. So I made we have the 2 boys. So I got those little square Ziploc snack bags, and I just use those. I mean, because we're just traveling. It's not like for really long-term storage. And I took a Post-it note and I put their names on it inside, put the Post-it note inside the little travel Ziploc bag. And then I took their earbuds and now they have the old 4S's, because I had to laugh at Barry. He was like, "Who's using that stuff?" I'm like, "Me." The family, the little kids are using it, because they're just playing a couple of their games and watching some videos and stuff on them, or listening to music or whatever they do. And they connect to our hotspot in the car. So like my oldest son has a friend that he was texting, so that was fun. Anyway, so a little traveling tip is, just get little snack bags, and you can just wrap your cords in a circle. And I did that for the kids. So they each have little snack baggies to keep their charge cable and their earbuds in. And then that goes in their little laptop bag. Yep. So that was a way that we're trying to keep everything organized, because, all those little moving little pieces, they start getting everywhere. So every night I make them check, like, all right, do you have this cable? Do you have this cable? Put that with your glasses. Now go brush your teeth.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much, we're kind of wrap this up with the travel topics, and there's some great things that we threw out there. We'll throw these in the show notes so you are aware of what all these things are we talk about.
I'm going to wrap it up with apps.
Yeah, we're getting close here, and the first thing I wanted to bring up is Apple just started producing a new a new show. It's a TV show, I guess you want to call it. It's called Planet of the Apps. I don't know if anybody's. You did not catch that, Melissa? You said you did not.
Yes, I'm old enough to know what Planet of the Apes is.
Well, yeah, that too. But it's a show that has a couple of actresses, and you got Entrepreneur, and I think it was Jessica Alba and Gwyneth Paltrow, will.i.am, and Gary Vaynerchuk, and they're all considered entrepreneurs, and they have these folks that come on and try to pitch their apps. So it's out on the iTunes store if you want to catch the first episode. I believe the first episode is free, but I think the remaining episodes are available on Apple Music. So it's an Apple Music produced show. It's kind of like a Shark Tank show, and I'm kind of like, it's okay. It was interesting, but it started getting a little boring and starting to get a little. Is it like the American Idol model where you have to go up and present and then they judge you? Yes, because you walk up and then you're walking down an escalator and you pitch your app for 60 seconds and then the four. So who out of these four is the Simon Cowell? Probably Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. He's a crazy guy. So they even have him. I'm looking at the picture now for the thumbnail for the video, and they even have him positioned in the Simon Cowell seat. So yeah, exactly. So if you're interested, catch it. I mean, like I said, they have the first premiere episode is available. If you're not an Apple Music subscriber, unfortunately, you won't be able to watch the other episodes. But maybe if you haven't done the 3-month trial through Apple Music, you should go and take advantage of it. Take a look, see if you might like Apple Music. But there wasn't one app that caught my eye that actually didn't get picked to go any further. I mean, they right away turned it down, which I was kind of surprised. But it's I don't know how investable it is, the type of product it is, but it seemed like a cool app. It's an app called Breaker. And what it is again, we love podcasts. I mean, we've talked about podcast type apps in the past. And I found this to be interesting because what it is, it's like a social media for podcasting. Really what it does is you subscribe to your favorite shows. You could discover what's hot, what's new based on people who are liking things, listening and making comments. If you have friends that are also using the Breaker app, you can go out and follow your friends on Facebook and Twitter, and then you can listen to see what they're listening to. And then you can like the episodes and all that stuff. So I found it to be pretty interesting. And it does feed through some of the pretty big podcatchers, the one you like, Castro and Pocket Casts and among others. And I thought it was a cool app, and it's free. And you can go on and listen to podcasts and kind of be like it's kind of like a social media of podcasting. I think it looks really interesting. I can't wait to try it out. Yeah. Did they say when you watch the episode, is it Android or is it just iOS? Just iOS. Yeah,
it's just iOS.
If you go to their website. We have the link to the iTunes version. It's breaker.audio. That's a good a website address there. Mm-hmm. And it's exclusively iOS. I think they probably try to get podcasters to be on there to subscribe. So we might need to look into this, get us listed on here too. Right. Yeah. That's something we're definitely going to have to tinker with. So we can take a look at that. So, but how are they supported? What's their business model? Are they ad supported? I haven't seen any ads, so I'm not sure how they're supported. I mean, I think they just created this app just like anybody else. And yeah, it's definitely something to look into. So I found that to be interesting. And that's what kind of drove me in by what it was a very brief moment they were on the episodes on the Planet of the Apps. So, but I thought it'd be interesting. So, and other one we want to talk about real quick, and I'll let you jump on this because you have experience with this as much as I do. Yeah. Is iMazing. iMazing. It is amazing. Yes, I've owned the app as long as you have as well. But they came out with a free version called the iMazing Mini. And really, basically, in a nutshell, what it is it allows you to be able to back up your iPhone or iPad wirelessly. You could set it up, plug it in for the first time, get it set up, and it's doing a full-out backup. And it doesn't involve iTunes. Wow, what a concept! You don't have to deal with iTunes. And then the other cool thing, the mini part just does a good straight-out backup. So you could just and it'll back up and restore for you. But the full version, you want to touch upon that, is it's got some powerful features, including being able to extract stuff and all that. So go ahead and jump on that. So to two things I'll mention, I want to kind of circle back a little bit and talk about the whole travel thing. So before we left, my husband,
actually while we were out here. So my husband needed to take a trip up to Boston to go be with some family, and he has just a 16 gigabyte 5S. And, again, like, sorry, Barry, this is we pass all these devices down, so we got all the old stuff. So we are that target market there. So he frequently needs to, I wouldn't say frequently, I would say maybe like once or twice a year or so, we kind of have this sort of workflow where he needs to offload information like photos and videos and voicemails and things like that. And so I sat there and he said to me, I need to clear up some space on my phone. And so I said, I know the perfect tool. And I was going to launch iTunes. And I thought to myself, well, but see, his phone is already backed up to his laptop, which we left at home. We didn't bring that with us. And I thought to myself, I don't want to use iTunes for this. I don't want to have an additional iTunes backup. I'm just going to use iMazing. So I fired up iMazing, and I was actually able to extract things. I was able to extract things like voicemail messages that he wanted to save. Mm-hmm. And, it was a way that we could take a look at the photos that were on there. We ended up just keeping most of the photos because he uses iCloud photo library. And so really what's on his phone is like the thumbnails. That's really not taking up that much room anyway. We were able to evaluate, kind of take stock or inventory of all the apps that were on his phone. It was time to, just like we were talking about before, it was time to go and take stock of those apps and see, which apps aren't you really using? They're kind of taking up space here and just taking up residence on his phone. And so we were able to go through and that one hasn't been updated for a while. And it's probably not going to be. So it's time to say goodbye. So we used iMazing to make a backup of his phone and go through and manage that and get the size down. So free up some space so now he can go and take videos and pictures and all that kind of stuff and have fun with his phone and really, use it. As it was taking up so much room. So that was one way that I used iMazing. And another way that I've used it, I've talked about this before on this podcast, another podcast, for my children's school. I'm a parent volunteer. And one of the things that I do is I take care of the school's iPads. And I actually used iMazing to manage. It's just it's like a classroom set. So there's, around 30 iPads. And I used iMazing to manage them and to be able to extract data. There was a couple of apps where we ended up not actually moving forward with it, but I could if they needed me to. And it's good to know this for the future. There was a couple of apps where there was student data that I needed to extract because I had to wipe them and start them all over. I got into that whole, they're iPad 2s. They're like really old. And so I got into that whole snafu where the new iOS update came out and it caused problems and stuff. So I was able to get some of that app data that was stuck just on the hard drive of the device and get it out and save it in case they needed it for something. And iMazing allows you to extract information. I've used this with clients who got into situations where they lost their password to their Yahoo account or something like that. Yep. And I was able to plug in their device several times now and save their contacts, like actually get their contacts off of their iPad or their iPhone or whatever, and then transfer them to a new device and that sort of thing. So it's got, I can't go into all of the uses, but it's a really powerful, amazing tool.
Oh, I agree. I've been a supporter of iMazing since its inception. They had version 1, so we're at their version 2.3 now. And again, like we said, the mini version is absolutely free, so you can just do a basic backup of the product with no problem. I believe they charge $29 is it for iMazing? It's Mac, and I believe it's Windows too. But we don't have any Windows listeners. But
well, maybe you never know.
Yeah.
Or people who are thinking about it, who are on the verge.
Yeah, it's a single license is $39.99, and it's for Mac or PC. And it's a very flexible tool, and not having to have it involve iTunes, I think is nice. So because iTunes,
well, there's things you can do you just can't do in iTunes. You just can't extract certain things. So it's really saved our butts a couple of times. One of my family members got a new iPhone, and she, at the time she didn't have iCloud turned on, so we were able to get things out of her phone that we couldn't have gotten out otherwise, or at least quicker. It was a much more faster process. So, and the developers are really respondent. I've been working with the developers for a couple of years now, and they've been really great about giving me like blogger reviews and stuff like that. So terrific developers and terrific product. Yep. Highly recommended.
Me too. All right, with that, let's wrap this bad boy up.
Put a bow on it.
We had some great stuff to talk about today, and I was really happy we were able to share a lot of this great stuff with you guys. But before we close here, I have to mention MacStock. MacStock 2017 is coming up. It is, as of this recording, 21 days away. 3 weeks. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
I'm excited. And what MacStock is, this is going to be my third year speaking at the conference, and I'm super excited. I'll be talking about efficiencies using iOS, and I also have a deeper dive, which I'm pretty psyched about too, going even deeper. And maybe we'll be able to touch a little more upon on iOS 11 during that session. So,
it's good timing, huh?
Yeah, and the MacStock is out in Woodstock, Illinois, or is actually right outside Chicago. It's at McHenry County College, which actually is considered Crystal Lake, Illinois. And it's on July 15th and 16th. And it's 2 full days of sessions. And we've got some amazing speakers like Chuck Joyner and Allison Sheridan, Dave Hamilton. Of course, our very own Melissa Davis with Jody Spangler is doing another great session on senior moments, right?
Yes, we are continuing our senior moments. We had so much fun the first time. We had to do it again. I mean, not the same talk, but we're a new topic, but within the same theme. And I should also, I'll put it in our show notes. Both of us, we did interviews with Chuck Joyner,
yes,
who does the Road to MacStock series. And so you should go check out our videos. You can hear us talk a little bit more about it. We kind of, give you, like we're doing now, letting you know what we're going to be speaking about. So definitely go check those out.
Yeah, I think I recorded Chuck's show like 2 months ago. It's been a while. You guys just did yours. Well, you did yours a week ago, but he published it just last week. So,
still fresh.
Yeah, still fresh. But what I talked about is still fresh too.
Yeah.
Come out. It's like I said, it's July 15th and 16th. And the cost is not that expensive. You can do you could do a premium ticket for both days, including Barry's own Mac mingle to be a great dinner hors d'oeuvres session between the sessions on the 15th and the 16th. And you have all that included. It's your ultimate pass for both days, and deeper dive talks and all kinds of fun stuff that's going to be happening. If you decide you only want to go for just the 2 days and not include the Mac Mingle, there's a good price on that too, or you can do a single day. The price starts at $199, $169 with the standard ticket, or $89 for the single day. But if you hurry, we have only 4 days left because this coupon code is going to expire as of this recording.
June 30th?
It's actually 7 days. It's a week. It's a week from Friday here. On June 30th, this coupon will expire. So if you use In Touch with iOS as the coupon code, you will get $30 off one of any of these tickets. And we would actually I'd get you $30 off on the premium ticket and the standard ticket. Full price if you just do a single day. But still, come on out. There's all kinds of great people you're going to meet. The networking is just it's worth it all by itself. Meeting a lot of people who have likes like you, and like I said, I can't say anything more about it. Just come on out and come see us. So
my kids are coming to Barry's Mingle. So if you play Pokemon, bring your Pokemon. You can play with my kids.
Barry's going to be happy. So, with that, let's wrap it up. And I'm so glad everybody was here. And let's do it, Melissa.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you're more in touch with iOS after listening to this episode. Subscribe to our podcast in your favorite podcatcher and show your friends how to look for us in iTunes. We look forward to bringing you more useful information in future episodes. I'm Melissa Davis, and you can find me online all over as the Mac Mommy.
And I am David Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65.
Until next time, thanks for listening.